Welcome to the Indie Corner. We're talking about all things independent comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Demoan.
And today, people are back at again another episode of the Indie Corner podcast. Specifically, and as you can see from the title of the video, this is our Black History Month special. But because we're in March now, our late Black History Month special. This podcast runs on
just a wee bit
this year, and so today we're gonna be talking. We want to do a black centric book written by and created with written and created by some black creators. And we wanted to do a book that I read a long time ago that I love, and I'm so happy that Demoan suggested that we should do it because I wanted to get back into it. But the book Excellence, written by Brandon Thomas with art by Khary Randolph and from Image Comics. And Demoan, I don't know about you, but I remember when this book came out. It was in 2019, and I remember going to the swap and getting the first issue of this book because one thing that got me about this book was one that the concept is pretty much just what if black people could use magic, pretty much. And like pretty much like what if Black Hogwarts was a thing, but also the fact that like Khary Randolph is like he's top 5 favorite artists of all time for me. I love his work ever since I saw him in We Are Robin when I was like in like high school, and then I started reading Mosaic, which is the book he did with Marvel, and then it just spilled off from there. And this was like one of my favorite books that he's done is Excellence. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I mean,
listen, I was excited to read this book. I never read it. I heard all the hype, but I never got a chance to read it when it came out. So
yeah. I only read the first 8 issues. I only read the first 8 issues, so I only read the first 6 issues. So I only read the first volume, and I didn't pick up with it. I just dropped off of it ever since. So, but yeah, people are gonna be talking about the first volume of Excellence, which is issues number 1 through 6, and we'll just get into it. So we'll just cue the music right quick, and so I think I'm the one who got issue number 1.
Yeah, we said you get 1 to 3, I get 4 to 6.
Exactly. So, and bro, you know what I just realized? I didn't even put the cover of the first issue on the slides. Damn, I'm slacking a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But it's all right. It's all right. We're just gonna go with it. So, issue number 1 of Excellence, right? So, just real quick, because the way the book is structured, there are different like break pages that showcase like the different like rules and stuff of like this world. So I put them all in the first slide. So pretty much the first like slide focusing on the rules of the world. So pretty much focusing on what are the 4 walls, what's the Aegis, and the 10th. So the 4 walls are pretty much the 4 like pretty much tenets or like rules that the people that this magic community that the Aegis follow, and the rules are: rule number 1, the protection and defense of the undeserving is not allowed. Rule number 2, the creation of a magician's wand without permission is not allowed. Rule number 3, the casting of spells without an approved wand is not allowed. And rule number 4, the use of magic by females is not allowed. And then in terms of the Aegis, so the Aegis is like pretty much this building with different rooms and like kind of think of it like the Sanctum Sanctorum, but like just a giant building. And they pretty much each have each magician that resides in it, like it's kind of like a class system. So at the very bottom, you have the rooks, which are the casting color is green, and they're pretty much an average age of a magical activation from a male, which is at 5 years old. So they're at the very bottom. Above that is a patron, which the casting color is blue. Above that is the 10th, which we'll learn about in a second, which is their casting color is purple. And then the overseer, who are at the very top, their casting color is white. And lastly, the 10th So the 10th are pretty much like, again, their casting color is purple, and they're pretty much the higher up families within this within the magical world, and pretty much they each family goes from the top and the bottom, from the very bottom to the top, like their magic, and they're the strongest magicians in this world. So at the very bottom you have, and they go by their last name. So you go with the Hill family and the Walker family at the bottom, following with the Clark family and the Smith family, the Adams, and then the Popes, the Robinsons, the Dales, which the main character folks on this book is from the Dales family, the Mitchells, and then the Jacksons are at the very top. Yeah, that's pretty much the rundown of this world, pretty much. And obviously keep this in mind once we go through the whole book, because some of these things become very important. But this book pretty much starts off with, in the Aegis in column 1, so at the very bottom, where we are introduced to the birth of our main character, Spencer Raymond Dales, and he's pretty much just the scene of him just being born. And his father Raymond Dales is showcasing his birth to everybody, because this is his first child.
Real Simba,
yes, a Simba ting, pretty much, real Simba shit. But then we follow Spencer as he grows up, while he is narrating the whole story. And while he's narrating, he's talking about the relationship between him and his father Raymond, and alluding to their relationship in the future being broken. Spencer at age 5 is gifted his first magic wand to begin his training. However, by age 6, it's recognized by his parents during an argument that he's a bit of a late bloomer, which Raymond doesn't accept due to their familial status within the Aegis. But due to this setback, his father neglects him for the next 3 years of training, favoring his student Aaron Mitchell, causing Spencer to develop a very strong resentment and hatred of his dad, causing his powers to explode by age 10. All right. So while discussing his progress throughout the next few years of training, Raymond gives Aaron, again, who's his pretty much the one I would assume is his star pupil at this point.
Yeah, for sure.
Raymond gives Aaron permission to pretty much break Spencer and put him through the ringer to allow him to catch up and to have him be an example for the other students, which leads Spencer to constantly deal with constant struggle and humiliation by his peers until he was 14, then be at his best by age 15. So as you can see here, he's so skilled that he can pretty much mop any of all of the more experienced students at his age. Days later, we're introduced to Gigi, which is Spencer's grandmother, pretty much giving her son the fresh cut, lining him up
fresh as possible.
Yes, it has to be as fresh as possible, because today's a big day for him, because they're discussing his trials at Aegis later in the day, and Spencer is curious about any insights that he can get from Gigi about how his father did his trials, pretty much. And he actually asks as well, if his father ever cheated to get to pass his trials, which Gigi doesn't really reveal in the scene, but he pretty much assures that listen, your dad's many things, but a cheater isn't one of them. And she pretty much has him, sends him off in his way, and she's about to tell him something after he says the whole thing against. And I love how she said if you look good, then you feel good. And then she's and he says yeah, you are good.
If you feel good, then you are good.
Exactly. And then he walked over to Aegis to his trials. And just to note here, Aegis is in New York City. Like this entire world takes place like in New York City.
I mean, like you said, it gives real Sanctum Sanctorum vibes.
Exactly. Fast forwards to Aegis, and we don't know the name of the character that he is introduced to that we see here, but he pretty much is like security checking him to make sure that he's all good. And Spencer goes up to the elevator, where he seeks counsel with the 10th, and which includes his father to begin his trials. And he is told by his dad in the 10th that he is going to be tasked to protect his charge, which a charge in this world is pretty much a specific person that a magician monitors for reasons that benefit the Aegis. So he's tasked to protect his charge during an important decision in their life while being chased by his fellow brothers. So they pretty much send him off into a portal to begin his assessment, and they're going to be monitoring everything that he does. So anything that he deems wrong, he will be deducted points for. Anything that he can accomplish to further his goal for passing, he gets points for it. So it's a point system pretty much. They're grading him, Demoan. They're grading him.
I mean, it's important.
While showcasing his various abilities, he ends up being interrupted by Aaron, who he revealed volunteers to be one of his attackers. And hence of his father's suggestion. So that's pretty much that. And all the things, I don't know about you, Demoan, but like I love the way they use the powers here. Like you see Spencer walking on walls and running up walls and stuff like that. He's making
it's crazy.
Shadow clones. It's
but I also like how they play it that because Spencer was so far behind, he also had to learn how to get good without his powers. So like he's also just in general like the one of him climbing up the building and then it cuts to him like dodging a bolt. It's like, hey, non-magical evasion bonus points. Like exactly. He's just good at what he does.
Exactly. But also just to add another point, due to his him also being left behind and his dad having Aaron pretty much break him in, he pretty much was using his newfound anger as kind of like a focus point to like keep himself motivated and like determined throughout all of that, which again I pretty much think is a bad thing, but it's
feeding him at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Fueling his fire.
Yeah, it's feeding his fire. Exactly. So, so Spencer ends up, figuring out, going towards his charge, and his charge reveals to be a white guy who is about to propose to his girlfriend, and that is the decision that needs to be made moving forward. And apparently, like this guy's bloodline is going to be special to the Aegis in the future, so that's why Spencer's tasked to protect him. While he's there, he gets intervened by his brothers coming after him, and pretty much he gets the crap beaten out of him and is almost about to fail. While almost on the ropes, Spencer used advice from Gigi, which is pretty much the fact that a magician's magic wand is used basically to monitor and control the actual magician from the extent of their powers. So they pretty much can. So what Spencer does is he act like while his wand is kind of like kicked away from him, he ends up using his magic without the wand to give him a leg up and to keep them off guard, so that I believe what happens, Demoan, is he ends up making like the earth shatter a little bit to therefore have his charge
on top of the roof, so she falls off
and falling. But actually, he's about have his charge catch his girlfriend from falling, but uses Aaron to give his charge that nudge to actually effectively save him and have that connection be formed. Therefore, Spencer finds a loophole, leading and which leads to the charge being confident to propose to his girlfriend, leading Spencer to pass and move up in rank. And when Spencer returns,
despite breaking one of the major rules, I might add.
Exactly, yeah, he breaks one of the major rules, but despite that, he ends up, being considered a pass, and he is then embraced by his father, and we see him kind of like in tears, crying because his father is actually like acknowledging him for
the first time in his life.
Proud for him for the first time in his life. It's a sweet moment. Right after that, they end up leaving the Aegis, only to be interrupted by another one of their brothers, informing him that Gigi got into an accident and that she's currently in the hospital. While at the hospital, Spencer pretty much leaves in absolute anger after his father pretty much reveals to refuse to use magic due to the rules set by the leaders of the Aegis, and pretty much calling pretty much leaves with Spencer angry, implying that his dad is a coward, even though he technically acknowledged that he's a coward himself because he couldn't actually fully say that to his father. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
On
the tip of his tongue.
Yeah. And further implying that he's going to take matters into his own hands. And then it fast forwards to Spencer at 19, surrounded by a group of overseers. And that's pretty much going to be foreshadowing something, a mistake that Spencer has made, because overseers only come when magicians make mistakes. And that's how issue 1 ends. So thoughts on issue 1?
I think it's a good, strong start. It has me asking a lot of questions. I like the way they played with like the time flashbacks and flash forward at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember when I also first read this, I was really interested to see the relationship between Aaron and Spencer and how that was going to turn out. And I can't say I'm disappointed with how it turned out so far. I only read the first volume as well, so I don't know how the series ends, but I do like how the relationship is turning out so far. I can say that. We'll get to it later, though.
Yeah. I agree with you. This book pretty much does have a very strong start. I do love how Brandon Thomas kind of does a linear approach with this, in terms of we literally see Spencer from the beginning, from the time he's born and until his progress, coming into magic and him being a magician, but also his relationship with his pretty much not broken relationship with his father. I think it's very interesting. There's also his resentment with Aaron being pretty much the favorite son over him. I think is also very interesting.
Crazy, because Aaron's not even like Aaron is just like a student that this father connected with.
Exactly. He's not even his actual full-blood son. Actually, when I first read the book, I thought Aaron was actually Spencer's older brother, but it turns out I was wrong. But
no, there was one point where he was like, "Hey, at least you have a dad to be upset about." Because Aaron's dad just apparently left him. Sad for him.
Either it was implied that he left him, or that his father's dead. I don't know if they ever.
Out of the picture for sure is the only thing I know.
Yeah, here's the cover for the first issue that I didn't put up, but yeah, no, overall, man, it was a good start, especially there's a lot of mystery here in terms of especially at the end when Gigi is where Spencer pretty much leaves because of what happened to Gigi and his dad not wanting to do anything about it, and what in that mystery of what did Spencer do that led to like 9 overseers on his ass. Know what I mean?
Yeah, it's overkill, really.
But yeah, overall, this is a great start. I really do like, and also Khary Randolph. I mean, his artwork, I love seeing
the character designs are all gorgeous.
It's all gorgeous, and I just love seeing how he interprets the use of magic and stuff like that. It's really cool. And I don't know about you, Demoan, but while reading this book, did you notice that when we see Spencer actually grow up to see him at 15, did you notice that Spencer kind of looks a little familiar?
Yeah, you know what? I clocked that a little bit, especially when I saw a certain picture of him and our boy Aaron side by side.
Yeah, so just a little fun fact for the peoples. So when Khary Randolph was doing this book, he wasn't really shy about it, but he pretty much said straight up that Spencer is pretty much modeled after Michael B. Jordan. Like off rip, like Spencer is straight up a young Michael B. Jordan.
No,
it's kind of hilarious.
It is. It's kind of ridiculous.
Oh God. But yeah, I remember watching a panel with him talking with him in Skybound during lockdown. And he was pretty much talking about if when I envisioned Spencer in my head, like if I wanted to cast him in a movie for excellence, I would just say Michael B. Jordan. That's why he looks like Michael B. Jordan. And it works. I think it works. I mean, it works so well. Like I read Spencer as Michael B. Jordan because of that. So, and if it's the dialogue, if it's the character, so it worked out.
Honestly, I'll probably read him as Michael B. Jordan from now on too.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You have any more thoughts on issue 1 before we move on to issue 2 now?
No more big thoughts on issue 1, to be honest.
I gotcha. All right, so we're gonna be moving on to issue 2 of Excellence. And thoughts on this cover, real quick.
I actually wasn't a huge fan of this cover. I think it might have been my least favorite one of the bunch, if I'm not mistaken. And not anything like specifically wrong with the cover. I like the leather covers a lot more.
That is true. That is true. I will give you that. It is. The other covers are definitely better than this one, but I still kind of like what they were going for with it, especially what it's alluding to in this issue. So,
right? No, especially like illusions, hypnosis. It's all fun.
Exactly.
I'm super excited for cover 3 because I think that was my favorite, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting. But yeah, but to move on. So with Excellence issue number 2, so it first starts off with well, again, I gotta go through some more of the world building stuff real quick because that stuff is important. But again, it talks again about the 4 walls, which I mean I'm not gonna reiterate again because of what I said, what I did in the beginning of the first issue. But there's also just this cool little poster here talking about only those deserving, and it's literally just I really like this poster where it's it's a bunch of the sea of white faces, but only like 3 black faces in the forefront. And I think the thing is the fact that a lot of the white faces are a lot more like transparent, while like the black ones are more in bold, which I think implies that because I didn't mention in the last issue, but like when Spencer's out doing his trials, no one else can see him besides his besides the other magicians. Again, kind of like Doctor Strange stuff, where it's like Doctor Strange in like the mirror dimension, no one else can see what they're doing besides people in the mirror dimension. Know what I mean?
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. But it cuts to the column secure wing, which is vault number 687 within the Aegis. And it's also known as the Ozymandias because of the Egyptian iconography. But Spencer appears out of the ground searching for something, only to be interrupted by a familiar voice warning him. And then it cuts to 37 minutes ago back to the hospital, where Raymond tries to stop Spencer, only to have Spencer declare his father's fear against him, against the leaders of the Aegis, implying his cowardice, which again we talked about before, but it's a lot more apparent now because he straight up sticks a wand up his face and is like, fuck you, fuck you, you're a coward. And then it's after that, it transitions 22 minutes before that, 22 minutes ago, so a little more further in time, where Spencer, while in the Aegis, Spencer recalls a memory while he was 4 years old, where his father took him to the Aegis for the first time, and where he first gets to learn more about how the elevators work. And in this case, the way the elevators work in the Aegis, they're pretty much teleporters, right? On column 1, but when you go into it, it puts you pretty much in a box elevator, but it's in kind of like this I don't know how to describe it, kind of like a dimension in a way. So they're all going in like different directions, all these other boxes, but each box that contains a magician residing in it glows to the color of their rank. So if a rook is in the elevator, their box is going to glow green. If 10th is in the elevator, it's going to be purple, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Patrons are blue, and overseers are white.
Exactly. While he recalls his memory, he gets stopped by Aaron, trying to attempt to stop him from making a mistake. But Spencer declares that he's not his brother and that he should stay away from him and his family. So again, he's a little bit that anger is getting the best of him. Demoan, do you think? Demoan?
Yes, I'm sorry.
But yeah. So it transitions again. Whilst in the elevator, Spencer decides to cast a mirror spell to evade the motion sensors. And when he casts this spell, he comes face to face with his mirror self, who pretty much confronts him and tells him how dumb of a plan this is and how we shouldn't be doing this.
But I love Mirror Spencer.
Yeah, Mirror Spencer is the logical one, and actually, like, you know, it's actually rational and is like, you know, trying not to do it. But knowing Spencer at this point and his anger, he just completely ignores him and just goes on with his plan. No
one was gonna stop Spencer, not even himself.
Yeah, not even Spencer can stop himself, which is the crazy thing. So he ends up going on top of his elevator shaft and starts to jump from elevator to elevator until he stumbles upon one of an elder, and this one of the 10th, which is brother. I forget his. I don't know if I have his name written down. What's his name? Brother Neely. So he ends up coming face to face with Brother Neely, and Spencer ends up knocking him out. And his plan is to combine, take his magic wand and connect it with Neely's magic wand, so that the energies can go into Spencer's wand, which will give him access to the vault, which we see him in earlier. So then it cuts to now, where Spencer realized that the voice he hears is Aaron trying to convince him to not go through with this. He pretty much is caught up to him and is trying to not have him make this mistake. And he also reveals that his father is the one that wants him to that sent him after that sent him to make sure that he doesn't do anything stupid. Mm-hmm. And while that happens, Aaron and Spencer end up getting confronted by an overseer, which is what we see here. And we learn that the overseer are pretty much the pretty much the security guards of all of the vault in the Aegis, and also are pretty much like the magical police to the magicians in this world. And when you see an overseer, it is a bad idea to fight it and confront it. So.
Yeah, never a good idea. They're ranked high for a reason.
Exactly. But anyway, the overseer continues to pretty much focus his energies and attacks on Aaron as punishment for allowing for even being in the vicinity with Spencer. And Spencer is pretty much forced to watch as Aaron is pretty much being tortured right in front of him. Spencer decides to do the dumb thing and attack the overseer. And I don't know about you, Demoan, but Spencer kind of gets a little bit of a leg up at first, but to the Overseer, but the Overseer kind of snaps back pretty hard. Like kind of got caught off guard for a second, I thought, and then the Overseer just gets his second wind a little bit.
I mean, yeah, like Overseer is tough, like tough.
Exactly. But the Overseer ends up tossing Spencer out of the way, and Spencer pretty much begs the Overseer to stop torturing Eren, and that it should go on to him. And the Overseer kind of reveals that, like, yeah, like he's alive, and I know that he knows that Eren's only doing this to protect Spencer's father, but his punishment is over because his punishment is near end. But what he sees for Spencer is something much worse, and we see Spencer get sucked into the ground, and everything just goes black. And then Spencer wakes up in prison, and he notices immediately that he can't feel his magic at all. Like his magic was taken away from him, and pretty much like Spencer goes into an absolute panic and starts to burst into tears because he thinks that if he doesn't have his magic, his father will not love him. So again, the daddy issues are strong. So the Overseer ends up making a deal with Spencer. And so because he believes that his behavior at this stage of his life can still be corrected, and he can still, and because he's comes from a special family, he has massive amounts of potential. So he makes a deal to bring his magic back and have everything all be forgiven, unless and that he should never see him in this jail cell again, or else it will be worse for him. But then it transitions to the future again, where we see Spencer at 19, but in this case he's using his shadow clones to fight all of these Overseers, and I love the fact that the Overseer is telling him, like, hey, do you remember what I promised you, Mr. Dales? And then he's like, what I said would happen. And Spencer pretty much responds by saying, nah, man, remind me. That's how issue 2 ends. So thoughts on issue number 2 tonight? No thoughts at all, really?
What?
I said thoughts on issue 2.
Listen, it's continuing where it's a strong start. I love the Overseers. I also love the shadow clones that he has going. But no, I'm excited for issue 2. I like the way Eren handles everything. Where he's sent after.
Exactly. Yeah. The shadow clones come to show that just niggas love Naruto.
They love Naruto for some reason.
It is what it is. But issue 2 is really good. I think the Overseers are a really interesting concept because they're pretty much are the like military police to the Aegis, pretty much. They make sure that everyone is kept in check. And I also love like there's very simplistic design.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said I also love their simplistic design because it makes them a lot more threatening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I can hear you. You're good. But
hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're good. I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, my headphone cut out for a second, so I was just couldn't hear you for a minute.
I gotcha. But yeah, Eren's motivation, wanting to protect Spencer, not just Spencer from himself, I think is great. The moment with Spencer talking to himself is also great.
Right?
Yeah, this is really awesome. It's a really good second issue for sure.
It is. I think it also shows exactly how close Eren and the father are, because he's going to collect his son on his behalf, even if he's not that close to Spencer. Like the father is very close with him.
And it kind of also reminds us of why Spencer resents Eren so much, is because of that relationship that he has with his dad.
Exactly. Honestly, this was probably the worst person he could have sent to save his son.
Yeah, he could. I don't think it was a good idea.
No, it wasn't. And now they're both in trouble.
And now they're both fucked. But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I really like the issue. It's pretty. It continues that mystery and it showcases these relationships with that Spencer has going on, or lack thereof relationship. You know, it's.
Hey, listen. Sometimes your father's absent, and sometimes your father's there, and you don't feel like he's there. You know?
Exactly.
It happens to some people, not me, I can say, but for some people, for sure.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a little relatable, at least for me. But you know, but I digress. So yeah, you know other thoughts on? You want to move on?
Yeah. So I'm ready for number 3.
All right. So moving on to issue number 3. And thoughts on this
cover?
Yeah,
this is the one I loved. I love the whole look of the fight.
This is your favorite one?
What?
Is your favorite?
What?
Is this your favorite cover?
Yeah, this was my favorite, yes.
Okay, I gotcha. No, this cover is awesome. I really do like it a lot. I love the again, very like showcasing like the potential fight between the two, but also like the way that he uses color and stuff like that. It's very minimalist, very monochromatic in a way, minimalistic. I like it a lot. But yeah, so we're going to continue with number 3. And number 3, again, I got like 2 more. Actually, no, there's 3 more more rules within the Aegis that I wanted to address. And the first one is the Aegis Emergency Bulletin: avoid quick wands. Prolonged exposure to quicks leads to the following: acute cognitive impairment, anaphylactic shock, intense symptoms of withdrawal, necrosis, organ failure, and suicidal thoughts. All violations must be immediately reported. And then the other ones, I gotta like scroll through them a little bit. Just to find them, there we are. The other ones are, again, from the Aegis Emergency Bulletin: maintain your magical access. Avoid violations, least to most severe. Casting spells without an approved wand. Injury to sacred charge by inaction or negligence. Theft or enchanted objects. Theft of enchanted objects or classified texts. Creating a magician's wand without permission. Inappropriate emotional or romantic contact with sacred charge, which keep in mind that one's important. And the other one is recoil is real. Protect yourselves. All violations must be immediately reported. So yeah, those are some more rules. So what are your thoughts on some of these rules, Demoan?
I honestly just want to say how much I like the rules, because all of the rules so far have at least played a part in the story that we've seen. And well, not at this point in the story, but for like up to issue 6, like I've seen most of these rules play some kind of part, like injury of theft of texts or sacred objects. Like you said, the inappropriate romantic one comes into play later. Casting spells without a wand, we literally just saw that in the first issue.
Exactly. So yeah,
it's all very relevant, like information.
Yeah, I like how they address, like, you know, it's relevant information that showcases the world, but also there are allusions to what's to come later. So I do like the way Brandon Thomas does that within each issue. I think it's very interesting. The whole recoil thing as well, which I didn't even go to that slide. But the whole recoil thing, that, you know, when 2 wands are clashing with each other, like I believe like recoil is when say you get hit by you hit another magician with a spell, your spell's gonna come back at you twice as hard. That's
the whole recoil thing, because they also have this thing where the magicians fight each other old school, because otherwise they're afraid of what will happen with like the spells.
Exactly. But yeah, that's pretty much that's pretty much it. But so it transitions to Prospect Park in New York, where we see what looks to be like a well, it looks to be like a drug dealer waiting by a bench, waiting for one of his fiends to come get some nice fresh drug. And this old man comes up with a bag, and they pretty much trade off a bag. The old man gives him a bag, and he ends up out of nowhere making a portal and pulled out a quick wand and hands it to the guy. Hands it to the old man. The old man walks away, and Spencer appears right next to him, and it's just like, "Hey, yo, like why, why'd you let them? Like, there's no more magic left in our worlds. Like, he's saying like, what happens when there's no more magic left in our worlds?" And he's just like, that is pretty much his argument about like idea of like how this guy thinks the Aegis, how hypocritical he thinks the Aegis is, and how that magic, that he thinks that he's helping people because he's giving them a little taste of magic, that he believes it should be the right to everyone, not just who is deserving and undeserving.
Right, exactly. It's equal opportunity he wants it to be.
Yeah, exactly. He's an equal opportunity drug dealer. But pretty much, Spencer asks him to pretty much either just like give up the location of the safe house where he's keeping all the quicks. Obviously, he's not going to do that, but it is revealed that they already figured out where all the quicks were, and they do a raid on the compound. And it's all the other various rooks doing this. And pretty much this leads to a fight between the rogue magician and Spencer, and obviously like what Demoan said, they have to fight old school because they don't want to risk using magic against each other due to recoil. So they pretty much scrap, and Spencer does this really cool thing where he pretty much disarms the drug dealer and gets a hold of his wand and uses his own wand to subdue him. That was really cool. And yeah, it's pretty much and it cuts back to a little bit later where it's pretty much Spencer is investigating why why there are a high amount of quick wands within this location, and that Spencer needs to and that he taxed all the other brothers to watch all the evidence before the sweepers arrive. Then it transitions to Carter Hawk's Senior Center, where he meets up with a nurse, Daphne. Actually, he rizzes up a nurse, Daphne, who is a nurse, and to see
a hand kiss and everything.
Exactly. Again, that's Michael B. Jordan shit.
It's smooth. It's smooth for sure.
But he talks with Daphne, who's one of the nurses, and he wants to see Gigi. And she is saying that this day is a little bit more of a difficult one for her. At first she's like she should just go home and wait tomorrow, but he convinces her to let her see her. And he ends up going inside Gigi's room and takes out a quick wand out of his pocket and uses the magic to activate it. And then Gigi, who is pretty much in a vegetative state, due to this quick wand, is back to normal and is standing out of her wheelchair. She's talking, she's cognitive, and they pretty much take this opportunity to spend some time together to talk and to catch up. And while it's happening, they're sharing laughs, and we get a series of panels where there's speech bubbles with no dialogue. I guess to assume that they're not, just to imply all the time they're having together. And while this is happening, the quickie, because they're quick wands, they only last a certain amount. They only last a finite amount of time because they're not real magic wands. So
very temporary.
Very temporary.
It's like a burner cell phone, essentially.
Pretty much. And the more that the wand degrades, the more that the Gigi reverts back to her current state. So she goes from talkative to slowly being vegetative, which leads Spencer to now embrace reality again for a second because his grandmother is back to being gone again, and he leaves. And it's pretty sad. It transitions to the Aegis, and we are introduced to where we see Raymond Dale, Spencer's father, and Monique, his assistant. And Spencer comes into the office where he is given, where pretty much Raymond gives him the whole rundown of a new task that he wants to put on Spencer to do. That will hopefully, if done right, will boost up, his reputation for the family. And he pretty much reveals to Spencer that Aaron has gone rogue, and that he is tasking that the 10th is tasking Spencer to take him down, but and the thing is, what Aaron did, he fell in love. He broke a rule. He fell in love with his charge and decided to go rogue. So he wants him to bring Aaron back and also wipe the girl's memory, his charge's memory. Spencer is not having it, and he doesn't want to do it. But obviously Raymond is trying to ignore Spencer's concern and his decision because he's doing it for the sake of, because he wants, for the sake of the family. He says, and he doesn't want any excuses. And he's going to give him all the logs that he needs to get more insight. And he pretty much he forces Spencer on his way, pretty much using his own magic on him. But he simply says, now go. And he simply says it's because the reason why Aaron did this is because of what Spencer did some time ago with the vault and all that stuff. So he pretty much tells him to go out there and fix the mess that he made. So then we get a series of panels where Spencer is pretty much getting the memory logs of Aaron, which is, again, I don't know about you, Demoan, but the fact that Aegis pretty much tracks your memories too while you're
it's like bonkers.
But he pretty much it pretty much goes through Aaron's time charging this like watching his charge Nicole Evelyn Tressel, who is a student at a university, and it kind of reveals that he's been making sure she gets out of trouble, and the fact that she's because she has an incident with the cops that he pretty much allows her to evade, and a few other incidents. And the more that he was watching her, the more in love he fell with her, pretty much, and which caused him to flee to start a relationship with her, and they're fleeing from the Aegis. It transitions 6 minutes later at Penn Station. We see Aaron and Tracy trying to get on a train to get away from Aegis, and it cuts back to a few hours ago where Aaron is teaching her a really important spell. A really important spell that could pretty much inevitably save her life, and he's doing this so that that he can take they're using the spell so that they can take their lives back from the people that stole them with no hesitation, which is why we described it. So while it cuts back to Penn Station again, they're about to board a train, and we see a little whoosh, like his girl gets whooshed away. And it is revealed that it was Spencer who pretty much took her to safety, and he is with brother Marcus, who we saw earlier in the raid, and another young magician. And while this is happening, he pretty much says that he's under arrest, and obviously, and they pretty much have an argument about why he thinks that. Aaron thinks that Spencer is a hypocrite because Spencer went out of his way to break his rules to save his grandmother. Why can't Aaron break the rules to have control over his own life and be who he wants to be with?
Right.
and Spencer decides to knock both of them out, both of the other magicians with him out, so that they can have a much better conversation. And while this is happening, they end up pretty much fighting each other. And also, I just noticed this, that Aaron is wearing a Superb shirt, and it's supposed to look like a box logo Supreme shirt.
I didn't even notice that. That's a good catch.
Again, excellence is with the culture. I think that's hilarious. But yeah, Spencer ends up knocking them out, knocking both of his colleagues out, and they end up having a fight between him and Aaron. And pretty much Aaron talks about how special how Spencer has a chip on his shoulder because he came up within a very special family and apparently is born with magical fucking blood, while Aaron pretty much had his parents taken away from him and had to start from nothing, while Spencer had everything. It's pretty much going through they're just having a conflict between their different circumstances, their upbringings, and and it's really interesting stuff. And in fact that he sort of says Spencer that he won't kill him out of respect for his father, but he's definitely going to actually finally teach Spencer something for once. And that's how issue 3 ends. So thoughts on issue 3?
Well, I mean, first off, that last panel, I just want to say, is probably one of my favorite panels in the entire comic so far.
Oh, it's fire! It's fire!
It's ridiculous. I love it. I think issue 3 is great. It's definitely where the action actually starts picking up. And this is where, the first 2 issues were mostly world building. I think 3 is where we finally get where the plot is going. The only thing that happened in the first 2 is the grandma got sick and he was kicked out by the overseers. Which is just, I feel like, setting up for the bigger story that we're getting now.
Which I agree with you. Yeah, the first 2 issues is pretty much exposition, while this issue is okay. Now, we're in a sense of where the story is heading, what direction these characters are potentially heading. Yeah, it's pretty much it's really interesting, and the fact that I didn't mention this, but while Spencer's narrating, he's talking about this was the moment where them two fighting each other is the moment that he realized that they're brothers because they're fighting one another like brothers would. So it's very interesting the way Brandon Thomas writes their relationship. I think it
very much is, because it's very much these are 2 boys with the same dad, and only one of them is a biological son.
Yeah.
But they're jealous of each other.
Yeah. But the fact that Aaron makes a good point that what I said earlier, that he thinks Spencer's a hypocrite because why can't Spencer can break the rules, and knowing how privileged Spencer is and the family that he comes from, he thinks it's okay to break the rules, but when Aaron does it, it's a crime. But he's doing it to better his own life, how Spencer, he's doing it to pretty much they were both doing it to protect somebody to save someone that they loved.
Exactly, same reason as Spencer, but he doesn't get punished as hard as Aaron does.
Exactly. But this issue was really good, and I also do like how they go into depth with Aaron's memories about how charges work and all that stuff. But also it also shows that the fact that they showcase how much of a piece of shit his dad, Mr. Dales, is, because he's pretty much blaming Aaron's circumstances of why Aaron did what he did on to Spencer due to what happened in the last issue. So, which I think is bullshit. It's not Spencer's fault at all. Aaron made the choice he wanted to make.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So,
it's a good issue. One thing I also wanted to mention is the conversation he had with Gigi right before, you said that she went she lost her mental acuity with as the wand burned. She talked about how Spencer needs to find something to fuel himself besides the hate he has for his father. Because that's not enough to make him special or a hero. He needs to be driven by more than just hate.
Yeah,
she doesn't say what, but she says he's got to choose something else.
Exactly. Yeah, which again is very good advice. Just in real life too, for people that have massive daddy issues like Spencer does.
It's true. It's true. Applicable in real life.
But yeah, I got nothing else to say. I love it. I love this issue a lot. It's really good. But yeah, Demoan, is that it? You want to move on to issue 4?
Yeah, I think that's good for me.
All right, so moving on to issue number 4 of Excellence, and this is actually my favorite cover. I love this cover. I love how the negative space is the prison bars that Aaron is in. I think it's so cool. Like the use of like the black shadow and then like little hints of light through the magic that is within Aaron's hands with the green.
Right, just the glint from the one eye.
It's amazing. Again, I like this comes to show that like I think that like I remember I said like what we did Invincible, that Ryan Otley, who again is on my top 5 favorite artists of all time, is like the king of covers. But I think that Khary is like second, because I love Khary.
I can agree with that.
Like just because and on all the work I've seen Khary do, not just in his interiors, but I love his cover work as well. He gets very creative, especially when he does stuff like this. Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's gorgeous, like you said, with the negative space and everything. Gosh, it's just such a good look for Aaron in this. Yeah, you ready to actually dive into the issue?
And it's yeah, but Demoan, I do have another bulletin from this issue. So you wanna talk about it real quick first?
Yeah, I'll go through it. So this is where they're going over how to make sure that you maintain your access to your magic. In fact, I think we already went over a bunch of this in the last issue, right? This is the same bulletin?
I think it might be the same bulletin. Yeah, they just put it
in. Yeah, so it's the same bulletin. Don't steal ancient texts. No wands without permission. Don't injure sacred charge. Don't cast without a wand. No inappropriate emotional connections. So it's just, again, going over the rules of what you can and can't do to make sure that you don't lose access to your magic, because as we learned in the last last issue, it's like withdrawal symptoms when you have magic and then all of a sudden you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a huge change to their life, just quality of life even. So I respect that they're throwing it in there multiple times because it's important to keep your magic, but yeah, it's just the same bulletin from last issue.
Exactly, yeah, same.
Okay, now we're ready to go, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, so this one opens after the fight's already over. Both, honestly, I'm just gonna call them brothers at this point because they kind of are. So both brothers just destroyed in hospital beds, Marcus and Spencer, and we get a flashback to their fight. They're casting spells at each other. It's real like Harry Potter mixed with like Dragon Ball-esque fight, which I really appreciate.
Yeah. I agree. I was thinking the same thing.
Because it's like the big explosions and like the big hits. Because there's another scene right after the explosion where they're charging at each other. Spencer is blown back and crushes a train. Like absolutely crushes a train. Like broken windows, broken glass everywhere. And Aaron walks up to him and he's like, "You think you can take me? Well, I'm here to teach you." And this is where Spencer actually starts casting forbidden spells. But of course, when Aaron calls him out on it, he's like, "I shouldn't know the spell, but neither should you. So how you gonna try to tell me I shouldn't know this spell when you shouldn't know what it is either?"
Exactly. Hypocrisy.
You know, the fight keeps going, and eventually they get to the point where they're like, "Hey, let's drop wands. We can take this old school." And Aaron's talking about how he's sick of Spencer's bitching, how everything is handed to Spencer, like we talked about last time. Like he doesn't see the parts of Spencer where Spencer struggled because he could not use magic for an embarrassingly long time to his father. Eren always had the gift, but obviously since Spencer came from somewhere special, he was treated special, and Eren did not like that. He held resentment. But then we cut back, and this is when Eren's choking him out, but we cut back, and we see both brothers waking up and getting up, and we see a mirror scene from both of them, where they both look to the door, and they're both greeted as son. We go to Eren first, and we see it's Spencer's dad. Spencer's dad chose to go to Eren first to check on him.
I literally was like, the nerve of this man. Wow.
It's truly the audacity. Because he comes in here and he's like, hey, tell me what happened. And he's like, I can't, it's all blurry, especially after we touched wands. But he doesn't go into that yet. He goes in about how, like, hey, you got an angry little dude. I thought I had him, but then I guess not. And that's why he has the bandages on the side of his face, because Eren is shooting the laser at his face to try to get him to get off of him. Now Spencer, he's greeted by his mother. And honestly, this whole scene makes me feel awful for Spencer. Like, on both, like...
Yeah, it does.
Dale, his father went to Eren first, his mother comes to him, and they have a talk, and it's about how, hey, you need to calm down. But what's also very important is we see the mom is using magic.
Yeah.
Women can't use magic, but she said she does not care. She doesn't play by their rule book, and I love her for it.
Literally, like, this was like an Angela Bassett, like Wakanda Forever moment, where she uses magic to calm Spencer, like to push Spencer down in his bed, and she's just like, Spencer is dumbfounded because she's just like, you can't do that. You can do it. And she's like, shut the fuck up and then listen to me, please. Like, I love that. She's like,
he's all heated because his dad's seeing the boy who almost killed him first. And his mom just wants to talk some sense into her son.
I love that. I love
it's
that
so good. But anyway, she puts the wand away and she starts talking about how, hey, I saw the boy's face. You did a number on him too. Your father's got to do his work, but you know what? You got to control the anger. It's going to destroy you in the end. And she doesn't want any part of it. That's not the son that she wanted to raise. And it's not the son she's going to raise. And this stood out to me because, like, you literally in this page here, you literally see Spencer, like, pretty much in a blind rage where he's beating the shit out of Eren so hard that he probably doesn't even realize what he's doing because he's so angry. And it's just like, it's just like, yeah, that's what she's like. You gotta cut this shit out now between what you're saying you have with your dad, because it's going to. And look at him, exactly. He looks like a straight monster here. He lost control. Like, he has the blurs and everything. Mm-hmm. Ugh. But like I said, the mom wants no part of it. And what we're seeing right now is the fight has really gone old school. They're punching, barely using any magic. And Eren can still do old school. And then Eren reaches for the wand while he's getting his shit rocked and stabs Spencer with it. To which Spencer throws his own wand at Eren. Eren catches it, and as they're both touching each other's wands, there's a huge explosion, and then there's memories that they're reliving. But not their own memories from the perspective of their opponent. I didn't catch that at first when I read it too. I was like, huh. Like, I didn't catch that at first, but I was like, okay, that's actually, like, really interesting. No, yeah, because it's really sweet because you see Eren living out the life with the girl he tried to save, and Spencer's watching in the background, and then what is really strange at first, but makes sense later, is the memory that Aaron sees is Spencer as a baby, which normally people don't have memories for, but there's a reason why Spencer has that memory floating around in his head. But they're both asked what happened after the explosion, and they both say they can't remember. Everything's a little cloudy. Also, I assume at this point they might not have sorted it out for themselves. But you know what? That's okay. They're working on it. But anyway, obviously after this, Aaron he was the criminal here, so he's being punished. He's got to go to prison after he's healed. And he wants Mr. Dales to be the one to do it because he thinks it would mean a lot. Don't you love it when your adoptive dad takes you to prison?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And this next part was actually the most soul-crushing part for me, because Spencer's mom, talks to him and says, hey, you should probably stay at your dead grandma's house all by yourself for a little while. Things are weird. Don't come home. And, that's low-key fucked up to say, this point. He's, 16, 15?
But granted, she did kind of imply you kind of want to leave the house anyway, so I'm just giving you a head start here. And it's just for a little. You kind of want to, that she wanted to, that he's been wanting to do it. He's planning on going to the grandma's house anyway once he turned 18. So right,
just like you said, giving a head start.
Yeah. So,
but obviously, the way he's taking it, he's being pushed out. And the mom is thinking, I have to save you, I'm saving my child, but Spencer's like, hey, why is it so easy for people to throw me away? He doesn't get it. He just wants someone to hold on to him. And he hasn't got that from his father. And clearly not that much from his mother either. If she's just, I know, like you said, trying to save him, but still pushing him out of the house.
Yeah.
In favor of the father, who's kind of a dick, to be honest.
I don't like his dad.
The dad's not good. I haven't seen a single redeeming quality yet. But anyway, we go back to living back, swapping of memories. Aaron and Spencer are talking, and this is where we get that Spencer can recall every second of his life with near perfect recall. Not just how events happened, but things that happened in the background. He can revisit events. He says that's how he kept the hate alive in him so long, because he could remember all of these events that he hated with his father in perfect detail. How he felt, how they made him feel, what he thought after them, perfect detail for him, which I think is insane.
That's insane, and kind of it kind of can be a blessing and a curse in a way. And clearly it's been a curse because it's why his anger has been in there for all this time,
No, yeah, exactly. But he also talks about how when he connects with the memories of Aaron, it's his first experience connecting with other human memories. How normal people have memories where they just forget shit. And he's like, well, how do you learn? You're just forgetting everything. And he's like, you know what? I don't know. You eventually get it. And it defines who you are. You gotta. Sometimes it's easier to forget the hate, but you stop hating eventually. And they're talking about how they want to stop hating each other. And their opinions on their mutual dad. But it all ends with them wanting to not hate each other anymore.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the jail. Aaron's walking. We see Mr. Dale trailing behind, taking his adoptive son to jail. They set him up in a real nice room in prison. Love that corruption. Yeah,
he got his own shower, so he don't gotta drop the soap.
It's true. He can drop it all he wants. He don't gotta worry about nothing.
He doesn't have to worry about getting it. He doesn't have to worry about the magical booty warrior in prison.
That's right. No. Not only has he has to worry about his hot water warming his booty. But anyway, after we see him being delivered to jail, we get a view of Spencer going back to Gigi's house, and Gigi's house has fire decorations to it. I can't even lie.
It's nice digs.
Mm-hmm. But he's talking about how he's gonna like get revenge, try to get back at the overseers, try to figure out like get back at his father for what he's done with that, and how him and Aaron are very like they don't want to be allies, but they're like they want to be allies. Like it's not something that they're looking forward to because they enjoy each other's company, but they think taking down Aegis and like figuring out what's happening with the father is going to fix their part of the relationship. It's going to make them better as people.
Exactly.
So they're working together, and that's when he's like, hey, no one can stop me, or maybe no one can stop us. And then that's where we get the panel that you have up of him sitting in Gigi's house and Aaron sitting on his prison throne, which is a really weird sentence.
Prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, resort. Can I go to that prison? I'll take his sentence. I'll serve his sentence.
Oh man.
But yeah, that's issue 4. I love issue 4. I think it's
probably my favorite.
I think so too. I think it's also the most packed issue. Like it has the most going on, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially like this is where most of the action is like hitting its first high point of the series. Because we get a bunch of cliffhangers. Aaron in prison, Spencer at Gigi's house. What's going on with the dad? Why is the mom using magic? Like there's a lot of questions that come up that can be explored later. And I just think it's one of the more packed issues, which I appreciate. What about you, Mikey?
I mean, for me, it was just the fact that it took Aaron and Spencer to beat the shit out of each other to fully kind of understand each other in a way, but also kind of get past the idea of get past the resentment for each other. It's just how wild to me. The whole memory swap I think is very interesting. The fact that I love how they could have Aaron Thomas could have easily just been like, oh no, Spencer's just angry. Spencer's been angry for this long just because he's just a baby. But no, his anger's just been there because he can remember every moment where his dad wronged him or neglected him or abused him. He has the receipts to prove. He has the receipts that he can recall any receipt. Pretty much.
Right, and you'll see there's a few panels where the dad is kind of berating the son. It's a little ridiculous. He's in tears.
Right. It's we'll get to that in the next issue because I got something to say about that. But besides that, the action is amazing. I love the action in this. The fact that the thing with the scene with Spencer's mom, the fact that she has to use magic in order to control her son because she's seen kind of the dark side of her son's anger to the point where she saw what happens when her son loses control to the point where he brutalizes another human being in the way that he did with Aaron. One scares her, but also drives her to to save her, to save him. The fact that his dad went to go see. The first thing he decided to check on was, wait, why did you go see your son? What the hell? Right? Not to disregard that Aaron is an important person in your life, which again, Aaron sees you as a father figure, you see him as a surrogate son. I understand that, but
you have a real son that you should be there for.
Exactly. What? But I get it. It showcases, the issues with Spencer and his dad, as well as even the issues with Raymond and Aaron to a degree. Like it kind of like it all stems back to their dad a little bit to Mr. Dale's in a way.
It's true.
This
is the cause of a lot of problems.
It really has, and it's but it's a generational thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's happened before him.
Exactly. So I like that. Besides that, it's really interesting. Yeah, but just the idea of like how the memory, how they can now peek into each other's memories, and obviously like also we've got to say that Mr. Dale's told him to keep it a secret. Aaron to keep it a secret. So yeah, like what's that gonna portray? But like, all the stuff he's like, all these leading plot threads it makes it very interesting. It makes me
exactly.
Yeah.
I also love the trope of the memory swap where they like humanize each other when they see each other's memories. Like
exactly.
I remember Aaron talks about how like he can kind of feel the hate or Spencer talks about how he can feel the hate for Aaron melting away a little bit. Exactly. And like he doesn't want that because he's kind of losing his edge. Because he's like seeing the memories from their perspective, it's humanized. Like you empathize.
You can empathize with each other that way. That's like the truest form of empathizing with somebody.
No, yeah, exactly. This is like a literal version of walk a mile in someone else's shoes.
Also, just real quick, we forgot to mention the fact that when you're talking about how like that scene where like they see each other, they're in each other's minds, and then like that's when they learn to realize that they don't want to hate each other. But obviously like it doesn't change the fact that Spencer still hates his dad because he's so mad that he blows up his room. Like clearly after his mom leaves, but like he blows up his room out of because he's still super pissed with his pops. Like it's just,
I can't blame him.
Yeah,
like his dad went to go see the man who almost killed him.
Yeah, but the fact that I'll even read this part because it's very interesting. But it's like he's like I think it's Aaron saying this, and it's just like it's Aaron being like, man, what the hell do you want seriously? And he's like, and it's Spencer like I want to stop hating. I want to stop hating you. I want to stop hating him. He's like, do you really? And Aaron's like, do you really have all this shit in my head now? Spence, like I was the one it happened to, but this hate defines your ass. What would you even be if you stopped? He's like, when you gonna wake up and put all this hate where it belongs, the real enemy? And Spencer's like, I don't know. And he's like, you want to know? And Spencer's like, he doesn't.
No,
he's so used to the hate,
It's literally what he is. Like how he defines himself. Like he says that's how he first started using his powers to any great extent. Because he hated his dad, how he was treated. Like it fuels him.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. It was good. That's the last point I want to make. It's just such good character development, and character writing. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's all I gotta say. So you want to move on to issue number 5?
Yeah, issue number 5.
All right, so excellence number 5, people. Thoughts on the cover? Love this cover.
I like this cover, especially because of the implication of another woman caster.
Mm-hmm. There's that. The use of the red, I like that a lot. The gradient from yellow to red in the middle. Exactly. Yeah, like the color choices, the simplicity of the color, but also simplicity. It's
beautiful snowy background.
It's good stuff. It's a really good cover.
The wolves with red mouths and wool eyes are pretty cool too down there.
We'll get to the wolves. We'll get to the fucking wolves. But
yes, we will.
All right, Demoan. All right, we'll just start us off, man. Start off with number 5.
Okay, so this one we start off with a prisoner log. It's a visitor log, and the visitor log is of Aaron, and it's people who visited him. So, Mills Cynthia visited him, which I think was his charge, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, Cynthia Mills, I think it's his charge, actually. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Dale's Raymond, we know that, and then Dale Spencer. These are the only 3 people that visit. Dale Spencer always turned away, refused every time. But after the prisoner log, we get this little peek into Aaron's old life of what he had with Cynthia. And I won't lie, it is just a lot of sex, it looks like.
Yeah, I didn't put that page, but
yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Don't want to get a strike, right?
Yeah, nah. I mean, I don't care, but like, I just feel like, nah. I think this page, the one after it, kind of cements more of what what is going on with Spencer. Like, seeing all this, so that's why I thought it was more important. But yeah, no, it's just Aaron clapping cheeks with the woman he loves, and the fact that it's just Spencer just watching it.
Yeah, Spencer can just watch that now whenever he wants, which is crazy.
Because he's low-key kind of cucking. It's kind of funny.
He's sweating a little bit.
I just think it's hilarious. And yeah, it's like the fact that it's hot, it's sweaty, it's passionate, and the fact that like because it's a memory and like as you said, like they can kind of feel what each other's feeling. Like he's kind of low-key feeling this shit. It's kind of wild. Like this is what Spencer's like. This is what sex is like. As like a 16-year-old, it's hilarious to me.
It's real intense for him, and I kind of love it.
Yeah. Oh man. But
but after he relives that that memory, we catch him waking up from this dream, and the first thing he does, summon the wand, and he talks about how Aaron will have the weird stuff that happened with her wands, and like how the memories of his brothers was replacing in his head, and this is where I'm talking about where he's saying this fucks with his hate, because he wants to hate. But like he was talking about how the memories are fucking with his head because he can recall any moment of his life, but now that's not as much the case because they're jumbled. But also he noticed as he's walking around, he's getting tailed. Now, if you see, she looks very familiar. She's the woman from the front page. Her name is Monique. And 2 months ago, when we get this flashback, we see that she was given a wand by Spencer's dad, and says, "Hey, watch my son. Don't even be subtle about it. Follow him, because if you can follow him, that means damn sure that Aegis can follow him. So remind him of what he's running from." Of course, Monique tries to pay coy a little bit, saying like, "Hey, a woman can't use magic." She tries to play dumb, like, "I don't know what you're trying to say," but eventually she takes the deal, and she starts tracking Spencer. Now, Spencer on his walks, he comes up to this tunnel, and he starts reliving a memory, which he doesn't realize is a memory at first, of Aaron. Aaron getting jumped, and he can feel the pain of Aaron getting attacked. He wants these people to leave, but he just keeps walking because that's the only way to deal with the memory. And he walks to a stash box that he has hidden, full of the quick sticks. Those little, like, burner wands. Full stash box of them. And Monique comes up behind him, looking at this box of burner wands, and she's like, "Hey, you normally don't let me get this close. Everything okay?" And, of course, Spencer replied, "Hey, Monique, actually, you should be worried about yourself. Don't trust my dad. He's kind of a prick." Which, good advice, honestly.
It's the best advice anyone can ever get is, don't stay away from my dad.
Yeah. And, of course, after he gives this advice, he's like, "Hey, before it's too late, get out of the game." And, of course, he runs, and Monique chases after him, and Monique actually takes a really good pace, but he throws a little spell and kind of knocks her out, and then when she tells the dad, Dales, about this, she says, "Hey, I let him go. I didn't want to create too much of a disturbance, but hey, I let him go." And that's the excuse that she tries to use. She puts up like a strong effort for someone who's only been using magic for like 2 months, though.
Yeah, true. It kind of comes to show that like how the fourth rule and the four walls is kind of bullshit, because showing that, seeing the Spencer's mom and now Monique, that like, yeah, the women also have just as much magical, no pun intended, excellence than the men do.
Exactly. I mean, listen, we've seen what, 3-4 women in the story. Half of them can use magic so far when they're not supposed to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it makes sense. But she also gives a report about how Spencer is visiting Aaron almost every day. But Aaron has turned him down every time. Won't see him. Just refuses to see him. Which is, makes sense. Aaron has his reasons. He got put there by his brother, so that's a good reason not to see him. But they keep talking, and they're like, hey, make sure, and Dale says, Raymond says, make sure you have a feed on my son. I don't want him lost. To which she says, oh, he's actually in the building on the lower levels. Of course, Raymond knew exactly where he was. He says, no, he's not, and then kind of push her in the direction of where he was. And then we flash to where he was, and we see that he is dressed in full winter gear, climbing some kind of mountain. But if we look at the location tag, we find out it's actually in the secure wing of the column, so still in the building of Aegis. But he's trying to figure out, because he needs to get Aaron's wand is his plan. He wants to destroy it to try to help him figure out if that'll stop the memory linking. So he goes, he gets the wand, he has a bunch of the quick stick wands, and he sets up this array. And he works his best on trying to destroy the wand as best he can. But as he's trying to destroy the wand, and he set up this array, a bunch of wolves are attacking him. Wolves made of light that turn to butterflies as soon as they hit the edges of it. And of course, Aaron did realize, though, that when it wasn't working, that blood was the answer. So he, stabs himself in the leg, and then he gets this violent reaction. And he gets a bunch of, flashback sayings. Hey, tell me the truth. They talk about Gigi. Anyone's memory ever being erased before was one that sticks out for later. And then we also get this flash of his dad. His dad telling Aaron that what happened to Gigi was not an accident, that it was a warning to him, because of what Aaron was doing, apparently. Because Aaron could not keep it in his pants. So they're using Aaron as a threat against the father, and part of that was hey, keep him in line. And to show them that he should keep him in line, they threatened Gigi. But after he tells that whole story, and how Spencer kind of realizes, fuck. I'm only ever going to see the worst parts of my dad. He's always the worst. He's cursed. There's always something else. And he doesn't want to forgive his dad ever. Everything he learns makes him not want to forgive his dad more. But right as he's struggling with the wolves at the very end, we get a cut from Monique riding one of the wolves. One of the wolves, all yellow and white, with her wand held high. And she's saying, it's not too late, Spencer. She's coming as a savior. And that's how issue 5 ends.
It's such a good ending.
It's a good ending.
He's like, bitch, not gonna save your ass again. Come on.
She looks so cool riding up on that wolf. Look at her. The eyes of her white are just all white. Wand held high, the electricity. That's magic, man. Dope. It's magic.
But yeah, man, this issue was nice. I mean, it's a little bit of a breather from the last one, but again, it's still showing that obviously his dad still wants to keep an eye on him, and using Monique to do that because no one's gonna suspect Monique. to do such a thing because she's a woman and they have that rule that women can't use magic. So that's very interesting. The fact that I said before, the fact that Monique has shown really strong magical prowess in only 2 months, which is why Mr. Dale's chose her is very. I love that a lot, and she's an interesting character so far. I love how she bounces. I love her banter between her and Spencer. Yeah, and just so you know, Spencer now figuring out the truth of like why Gigi. The reason why Gigi got injured was because of stuff that happened with his dad. It was a warning to his dad to Aaron because of what Aaron was doing. Is it's again like stuff like. Again, like from last issue, like he wants to not hate his dad, but like at the same time, like he keeps seeing all the bullshit that his dad is doing all the time. So like he doesn't have a reason not to hate him. He hasn't seen a reason not to hate his dad yet, and he doesn't think he ever will see a reason. That's sad. And yeah, like the whole relationship between him and between Spencer and Aaron seems to be a little bit waning a little bit. Because Aaron doesn't want to see him, and obviously for obvious reasons. But and plus, I guess we don't really know how it's been for Aaron seeing Spencer's memories yet. So maybe that has to be a reason. But so far it's very interesting. But yeah, the whole like Gigi reveal, I thought was like the mic drop.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was real upsetting to me. I was upset that this man got his Gigi killed.
Pretty much. It's just like, damn. But yeah, overall, it's a good issue. I liked it.
It was good. Really kept the momentum going. I think a pretty good amount. I
don't know what to say on it. I liked it. It was good, but it was a little more of a breather from like the last issue. But again, it does cement that I do really like Monique as a character so far.
Love Monique as a character. I think that was the big part of this issue was Monique. Like they just had to get her in the story somehow. Like I think that was where they were going with it.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to the last issue number 6?
Issue number 6.
All right.
So this is this is a good cover. I love how the lights shining out of his face, like the magic energy, the way it's like shining off of him, the shadows that they cast off the face coming from the light. It's all like really well thought out and put together.
Also, we have a comment. Sarah's in the chat. Hey, Sarah, and she's like, Demoan?
Hello.
Like
Hi, Sarah. Oh, I hope you've been well.
But I do like the cover. It's really cool. Very striking, obviously.
Right.
Shadowing crazy stuff to come in the issue.
Now, you said you have the first volume paperback, right?
Yeah, I have the paperback right in front of me, right here.
Does it have all the covers in there in the back too?
Yeah. It has all the covers. Yeah.
Okay.
So
because I would like to one day see these covers like pop in person.
It's like right here. I have my background blurred out, so it's kind of fucking it up. But yeah, I have the.
I kind of get the attitude of it.
Yeah. But all right, Demoan, let's get to it.
But no, yeah, solid cover. But we go to the issue, and first we start out. This is where I talked back when I said we get a little bit of the abuse that Spencer went through as a child, and we get this little like block of like pictures. It's the trick from that they make fun of an Invincible, where it's all the same panel at the same time, but they just change a few things. Which is one of my favorite gags ever since.
Yeah, but it's effective because it does show the passing of time really well.
No, yeah, exactly. Because what it is he's casting spells from the other like 10th families, I guess.
Yeah.
His dad says a family name, and
he signs and stuff like that.
Yes, exactly. And he has to like cast for it. But he's fucking up. Like he's messing up, and he even gets to the point where he messes up Dale's, which is his own family. Like the family that he's part of, like this should be second nature to him, but like his father is being so intense about it that he's being angry, like he's messing up. The anxiety is getting to him. Like he's literally sweating and crying tears. Like you can see the progression of him getting more and more distressed, but more and more focused the entire time. It gets to the point where like he straight up calls his son a stupid motherfucker. Excuse my language. And we see that Aaron has to watch this, and he's like, wow, you know, I kind of understand why the relationship's a little strained, why this father and son duo don't like each other as much as you think they would. And he would just wake up to these memories, and it was like, wow, that's awful. I can, this is why there's so much tension between us. It's because of the father.
Yeah, again, it's just well, this scene right here kind of like cemented, like, though I already did not like his dad, but like once you start like cursing at your son because he's messing up all the time, he's not getting getting what the result that you expect from him. It's just bullshit. I was genuinely mad. I was not happy.
It was this and one other time later on in this issue where I was like pissed at the father, like legitimately pissed at him.
Yeah. But again, it's what Brandon Thomas is trying to portray in terms of the theme, like in terms of like generational stuff, like generational stuff like that. It's
done really well because I don't like the character, which is the exact emotion I think I'm supposed to feel. But we go on. We see Aaron in prison. His nice ass prison room, better than most apartments I've seen, to be honest.
It looks like a timeshare. It is hilarious.
It does. It's like beautiful. But the first thing he does when he wakes up in the morning is call for his wand, and then realize he no longer has his wand because his connection's been severed. And as he's going about his morning, he's told that Spencer has come to visit him. Of course, Aaron doesn't want to see Spencer, so he says, hey, leave him. Don't want to see his ass. Send him back. At which point we do a little cut back to see Spencer and Monique trying to fight off the wolves as Spencer tries to handle this wand situation. But they talk about, and Spencer says, hey, how many spells you got left? Monique says, of course, not enough. To which he replies, well, I figured he gave you at least one to get us out of here. So after he throws a little distraction, Monique opens a portal, and the two of them escape right back into his father's office. To which the two of them stand in front of the father. Monique is told, good job, and she starts to leave the room as she's thanked by both Aaron and her father. Spencer and his father. To which they have the explanation. They start talking. They talk about stories, what needs to happen. And in the middle of this, Spencer asks, is it true? Is the thing about Gigi true? How they went after her because of something you did. Because if it's true, he's going to tear this place to the ground, and nothing's going to be able to set that right except for him tearing it to the ground. Because he'll never forget what happened to his Gigi. To which, this man is so cool, because he's like angry for no damn reason.
Yeah.
And he's right that the anger is not going to save him, but like he has reason to be angry, like his whole life.
Yeah, and I don't know if we mentioned this before. I think I forgot to mention this before, but like his dad they kind of revealed it at some point that his dad was kind of was being like extremely hard on him just to make him a better like magician,
right?
Which is like, again, that's just wrong. It's wrong. Like, you don't like that's even more of a reason why, you know, he made him actually like doing that to make him a better magician, and you're surprised that he's like rebelling the way that he's rebelling. Like you kind of created what you kind of got what you paid for, you know?
Yeah, you made a magician fuel off of hate, and you're mad when he's angry.
Yeah, like come on, make some damn sense.
Exactly, but they also talk more about how he's starting to sympathize with both Eren and the father, and that Eren may have been getting something that he needed even more than Spencer needed from Raymond. But obviously, Raymond should have been taking care of his own kid. But he talks about how the anger won't do anything from him, and how yes, they did stuff to Gigi, but he didn't not do anything. He was playing it smart, he says, and he has a plan, and he can't tell Spencer. And I think that's where he fucks up the most. Because he refuses to let Spencer in on this plan at all, when he sees his son is so clearly angry, and he just wants answers. Like, that's all he wants. He wants to know when the revenge is going to happen.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, oh no, I don't trust you enough yet. So.
Because exactly, he doesn't trust his father that he's not being played. You know, it's not. And the father talks about how the anger is killing him, but Spencer says it's the hope that's killing him. The anger is what's keeping him alive. It's the hope that's killing him. The hope for something better. Like he's constantly disappointed. Like he's he says, "Why is it so easy for people to throw me away?" Like that's a quote from him. Like he's doesn't feel like people want him. And the hope that people want him is just awful, especially because Gigi was the one person he was really close with in life. And at this point, this is where it gets the most fucked up part of the whole messed up part of the whole situation, because Raymond tries to erase and change the memories of his son, tries to make him forget the last 2 hours. But this is where we find out that there's probably a reason why Spencer is perfect memory recall and had so much trouble with magic as a child. And he says he'll never forget what happened. And he has this pulse of energy, beams of light come out of him, and he's able to fight off the memory wipe. And he gets up pissed.
And it scares the shit out of his dad.
Yeah, it's terrible because the father should have been able to wipe his memory, no issue. The father's done it with Eren before, so we should have no issue with him now. But issue after issue, but no, he's pissed at his dad, and he's like, "Hey, you know what? I was almost ready to forgive you. You were this close, father." But then you had to go and do something like this, and now I can never forget it, and I'll never forgive you. And this is where he destroyed his relationship with his son, and the father's upset because he thought that this was going to work, and it just didn't. And honestly, I love that for him because I want him to fail.
Yeah, I wanted him to fail. I wanted him to realize, oh wait, maybe I gotta stop. I gotta put my ego down to I gotta take my ego out of my ass for a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
He needed that ego check.
Exactly, you get it. But here we come up afterwards. Apparently, only 12 minutes later, which I think is really fast. He's in the prison wing, and he meets one of his old boys. They get a handshake going, and he's they have a short conversation. He's like, "Okay, man, I gotta get back to work." And this is. Sorry, a little burp there. But this is a really cool part because he creates this one of his doubles, his shadow clones, and he leaves them in the waiting room. And he has this whole scene where he stealths behind his old dude, following him, because he's been doing all this reading and he's learned how to do magic and manipulate reality in the subtlest of ways, so people won't notice the changes that he's making.
Yes. He's stealing text. He's reading he's learning all these spells from books that he shouldn't be reading.
Yep, because what he does is he just goes to the library, and since he gets perfect recall, he can just copy down all the books, remember all the books, because they don't. They expect people to forget shit. You're not allowed to take prints from the library, you're not allowed to copy stuff, can't take books out. It's all just there for reading. Like, you have to be in there. But he can make a whole second library because as long as he reads it, he remembers it.
Exactly.
But anyway, we get this scene of him walking behind the security guard right up to Aaron's cell. They have a short little like spat encounter before Spencer says, "Remember to Aaron," to which point Aaron's memories come flying back. And they embrace each other in a hug. Which is real nice because I like seeing them as brothers. They seem like they would be good brothers. Like,
and this moment right here kind of cemented the relationship as pretty much brothers, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like they're both talking, and this is where because Aaron has access to the memories of Spencer because Spencer's learning all this crazy stuff. When he comes to Aaron, they can copy down the library together in person. Like for hours and hours and hours, just copying until it's time for Aaron or for Spencer to have to leave visiting hours because that's what he would do. He would just chill there. Well, his clone would chill in the waiting room while they copied stuff, and then he would sneak back out and take the place of his clone again and leave. And that's how they would do this.
And it gave the illusion that Aaron didn't want to see Spencer, but in reality, he was visiting Spencer. Spencer was visiting Aaron the entire time.
Yes, every day. And they would wipe Aaron's memory every day to make sure that the story was believable, you know?
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So such good writing. I love this twist.
It's real good writing. But then we get them leaving the cell. We find out that the one friend was like kind of in on it. It was nice. Kind of gave them a warning that they were leaving. And as they were leaving, they're talking about how is this over? How the two of them are gonna write these books and hopefully like change stuff, and that they can be brothers one day, and hopefully they can even both have a father, which would be crazy for both of them because that's never happened to either one before. But we get the whole image of him walking out of the prison finally, and this is where they're saying like, hey, we're starting this plan tomorrow. And then we get another flash forward to Spencer fighting the Overseers, at which point the Overseer's like, hey, Spencer, you're all alone, no friends, no father, no brothers. And Spencer goes, that's what you think. And at this point, we get this really dope image of Aaron literally busting out of the prison cell that he's trapped in. Like punching out of it like a Kool-Aid Man run.
Oh. And out here looking like Luke Cage. It's kind of wild.
It really is. It's amazing. I love the torn sleeves too, like top to bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how issue 6 ends, and that's the end of the first volume.
And just to be clear, this is the flash forward where he's 19. Again, going back to those 19 flash forwards.
Yeah, he was 17 before. He's 19 now. In the flash forward.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, this was a good ending. I loved it. I loved it.
Yep.
So again, just highlights real quick. Monique and the beginning, obviously, it's so heartbreaking, and it's just like it made me so mad because I was just like, like his father literally just like verbally abusing this kid just because he's not getting the outcome he wants from his son because due to expectations. It was so heartbreaking. Monique doing her thing, love her, she's great.
Killing it every time. No notes.
Yeah, she's great. The talk, and I'm curious to see going forward in the story in volume 2, like how is she gonna advance as a magician? Spencer confronting his father, and inevitably his father, showcasing like he'll get the best of him trying to wipe his own son, but then Spencer gets the better of him, and it showcases there's a lot more to Spencer than he thinks, that even like as a reader that we think, in terms of like how powerful he actually is. And he pretty much says, I just love how he's like, I'm never going to trust you again. Fuck you. And just leaves. So then, so that's like the broken. That was the nail in the coffin for like the official like broken relationship between Spencer and his dad that we got right at the very beginning of the volume. Which is great. The whole twist of Spencer and Aaron's plan to kind of like rebel and start and to reform the Aegis to like into their image. I think it's really interesting, and I'm curious what that's going to be, because it looks like from what they're writing. I think you said it was like a book of spells. I thought it was more like a Bible of new rules and things that they're establishing.
It's more like a catalog, I guess you'd say. Because it's just like, it's not just spells, it's also like histories, information on artifacts, like it's a bunch of stuff. So like there are spells in there, but it's not just spells.
I got you.
Like, he's copying down everything from the library, like everything. That's his goal.
Exactly, and it's very. I love this twist with it, and how he's erasing Aaron's memories and reactivating them to keep the ruse that Aaron doesn't want to see him. I thought it was a really good twist, and I liked it a lot.
It was,
but yeah, and just the ending of like, okay, we're back at at seeing Spencer at 19 and seeing this fight between him and the overseers, and seeing that, okay, yeah, like obviously like the relationship between Aaron and Spencer has been more like cemented as brothers, because now Aaron's gonna come break out of prison to try to save him. I think is awesome. And yeah, man, no, it's issue 6 was a pretty good ending, and it made me excited to like read the rest of it in the future. But yeah, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I mean, I just want to take another second to appreciate the hug between brothers as soon as the ruse is dropped. I really think it's a huge step forward for the relationship. I can't wait to see where it goes. Especially as this man is busting out the wall.
Bro, freaking turning to Luke Cage, just like bursting out of the wall out of nowhere. It's awesome. It's awesome.
It's a good look.
Yeah, Demoan, you good? You want to move on to final thoughts?
Yeah, let's move on to final thoughts.
All right, so final thoughts on Volume 1 of Excellence. Also, it's titled Kill the Past. That's what Volume 1 is called. What are your overall final thoughts on this volume?
I really appreciated it. I thought it was a great book. I had to fight off the urge to read the second half of it, because I wanted to just be able to give the first half of it as we were reading for it. So I really had to fight the urge to read the second half. So like it
was tough for me too. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was tough for me too.
Yeah, it was good book. Like it made me want to read more. Like I started issue 7, but I had to put it down because I'm like I won't stop if I keep going.
Exactly.
But no, the characters, the art, it's all beautiful. The relationships between the father and the sons, between the two brothers themselves, it's a work of art so far.
Yeah, I agree. Brandon Thomas, the writing here, especially like it's pretty much character studies between Aaron and Mr. Dales and Spencer. It's so well written, and just the fact that there are a lot of showcase, a lot of themes, especially with like generational trauma, like old versus new, like old generation versus new generation, father-son dynamic, especially like a broken father-son dynamic, like parental expectations, living in your father's shadow, and like how it affects someone growing up. Like to me personally, it was relatable. Like I really related to like some of the stuff that Spencer was going through in the story. I thought it was so well done. Again, the action is great. The way Khary with the artwork again. He's for me
so beautiful, man.
Top 5 favorite artists for me ever. Like I love his artwork so much. And yeah, he shines in this. This is some of my favorite stuff he's ever done. Is in Excellence. And yeah, man, it's just and now just seeing like now this relationship between Eren and Spencer now cemented as like a more brother relationship, and now Eren cutting his father out of his life officially. It seems like I'm very curious to see how it's gonna progress, and again all these other storylines with Monique, what she's gonna do, and what is this new version of the Aegis going to look like? Are we ever gonna see who the leaders are in the Aegis? Like the higher ups that are not the overseers, because it is implied that like the overseers answer to somebody. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
So I'm curious to see what that's gonna look like. But yeah, it's a great time. This is again, I read this back in 2019, and then a little bit during when the lockdown started. And I loved it then, and I just dropped off of it after that. But now rereading it again, it spent how much it was a good reminder of how good this series is, and I feel like not a lot of people talk about this series.
Right?
It kind of got like snuffed under the rug a little bit.
That's a shame.
It's a shame, yeah, because it's really well done. So, yeah. So, Demoan, what would you give Excellence Volume 1 out of 7? Now that you're here, so we have to do the 7 scale.
1 to 6. I think out of 7, I'd probably give it like a 5.5. Almost a 6.
Yeah.
So like that's about that's around an 8 out of 10.
Okay, why give it almost a 6? What was holding you back a little bit?
I think what's holding me back a little bit is I can see a lot of strange patterns starting that I'm not like with the father. Like I'm not sure how many chances he's gonna give his dad. Like that's like there are some dangerous games they're playing where I think it could really go wrong, but I trust them to have made a choice that's like doesn't like, I don't know, the integrity of the story like affected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
The art was beautiful. I loved the characters. Hated the dad. I would have loved to see more of the woman characters, but it's only 6 issues in, so I expect to see more later.
I'm hoping that they're more showcased in the next volume. That's for sure. For me, it's I would say a 5.5 or a 6. I think I'll say 6. Like I really thought this issue was good. It was really strong. The only thing that I would say that bothered me that would knock it down a point was like it's a non-linear in terms of pacing, so it kind of gets. I got a little confused a little bit. I had to like reread a bunch of times in order for it to like to follow it.
Because especially if you don't notice the little bubbles of the age, you can really just miss something.
Yeah, exactly. The artwork is great. The writing is solid. Again, this kind of will put me on to Brandon Thomas because he ended up going into Milestone when Milestone Returns happened. He did Hardware. He did the Hardware book. And, his Hardware was really good. But yeah, man, that's pretty much it. It's a thumbs up for us. It gives the Indie Corner stamp of approval. It's definitely a must read. And I don't know, but maybe if y'all submission wants to do volume 2, we will cover volume 2 at some point this year. If y'all
That's
want.
Right. Maybe a late Black History Month special.
Yeah, maybe. but yeah, people, if you want to get this book, you can maybe find it in check your global comic book shops. Go to In Stock. It's definitely on In Stock, both volumes. There's no compendium. It's just it's only 2 trades, unfortunately. Because if there was a compendium, I would have probably bought it already. But yeah, and it's a nice little trade. It's looked like this, and has the way it's formatted. So like, there's no like chapter breaks within each issue. It's just a straight read from beginning to end. Like when I was doing notes, I had to go on to my digital copy and figure out which were the stopping points because it's so seamless when you read it in a trade the way it's formatted.
That's actually really, I didn't even know that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, like I literally there's no chapter break. It's just the story from beginning to end, and it's super seamless. Like it's kind of wild.
I kind of like that the way they did that. I'm not gonna lie.
And there's also like a nice little like cover gallery and all that stuff. like showcasing all different covers, and yeah, and like some of them are variants of, like, for instance, Demoan. I don't know if you knew this, but this book, when it came out, sold so well that the first issue sold so well that it got it got 3 reprints.
Wow!
At 3 printings, yeah. So, and this one, which is the background for the video, is one of my favorite covers. But this is the second printing cover of him, Spencer on the wall. I think it's really cool.
I do love that, especially because you see the Shadow Man in the other world, the Mirror Man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's awesome. But yeah, Skybound. I think Skybound. Yeah, also it's a Skybound book as well. Skybound does Invincible, so that's why it slaps. But yeah, make a compendium or a complete collection, please. That'd be great.
That would be good.
But yeah, people, that's about it. Thank you for everyone who are watching this or will watch this. We appreciate it. I know it's a little late in the night, and also in terms of timing, but we hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll put a link down to where you can buy volume 1 of the trade and volume 2 of the trade. It's definitely a must read. But yeah, people, thanks for the support. Comment, like, subscribe. What do you think of this issue? What do you think of Excellence? Have you read it? What are your thoughts on the book? Will you read it? So yeah, let us know down in the comments. We appreciate it. Get them likes up, please. Also, check out all of our all the other videos that we've been dropping. Check out the Indie Corner After Dark. Check out our recent After Dark, where we had our lovely guest Ernie the Blur Without Fear to join me and Rebecca, which was a lot of fun. Check out the Deadly Class stuff. Check out the clips. Check out the Transformers stuff. Deadly Class is coming back. I promise. It is coming back soon. Me and Demoan were talking off screen. Like, we want to start it again soon. And yeah, people, click the notification bell so you know when we drop more videos. And as always, get home safe.
Get home safe.
And we'll see y'all next time. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.